Picture this: a $270 million Disney spectacle playing to empty theaters while its star watches from the shadows. Security teams are scrambling to protect actors. Studio executives are burning midnight oil as refund requests pile up. This isn't a dystopian movie plot, it's the real-life collapse of Snow White 2024, a cautionary tale about fame, politics, and Hollywood's dangerous new reality. The first alarm bells rang at 3:17 a.m. on March 10, 2024. Disney's box office tracking team watched in horror as real-time presales for Snow White flatlined. What should have been a triumphant $55 million opening weekend quickly revised downward to just $42 million, a disastrous start for a film that needed to rake in $675 million just to break even. But the true shock came in the second week, as families opted for Jason Statham's blue-collar drama, A Working Man. Snow White's ticket sales plummeted by a staggering 66%. By the third week, over 1,200 theaters had dropped the film entirely, a move almost unheard of for a Disney tentpole. The final nail in the coffin came when AMC's flagship New York theater reported selling just 11 tickets for a prime Saturday night IMAX screening, a $270,000 auditorium generating a pitiful $165 in revenue. Industry analyst Doug Kreutz didn't mince words when he broke down the brutal math. With a $270 million production budget, a global marketing spend that ballooned to $130 million, and only $195 million grossed worldwide, this wasn't just a flop, it was a financial hemorrhage that could erase an entire quarter's profits for Disney. For a studio that once seemed invincible, Snow White's numbers were a wake-up call that no one could ignore. Long before cameras ever rolled, trouble was already brewing in the writer's room. Leaked emails would later reveal that Disney executives were pushing for a bold feminist take on the classic, while veteran animators fought to preserve the original's timeless charm. The result was a compromise that pleased no one. A Snow White who doesn't need saving but still sings with woodland creatures, a blend that felt awkward and forced. Then came Rachel Zegler's infamous 2022 Variety interview. Her description of the original prince as a stalker and her dismissal of the 1937 film as creepy lit the first fuse. Disney's internal metrics showed a 23% drop in trailer views after her comments went viral. Sentiment across parenting blogs turned sharply negative, and a significant portion of surveyed families stated they'd skip the film entirely. One VFX artist confessed that test audiences had walked out during the "whistle while you work" scene. The new version of the dwarfs, redesigned as magical creatures without names or personalities to avoid stereotypes, left parents confused and kids missing the humor that made the original so beloved. The attempt to modernize the story seemed to have backfired, alienating both die-hard Disney fans and newcomers alike. Rachel Zegler was no stranger to controversy, but her August 12, 2024 Free Palestine post took things to a new level. Within hours, co-star Gal Gadot's Instagram was flooded with over 4,000 death threats. The hashtag #DisneyFundsTerrorism trended for more than a day, and Ticketmaster reported a tidal wave of canceled pre-orders. Disney's crisis team found themselves facing an impossible choice. Should they publicly rebuke their star, risking backlash from international markets, or stay silent and hope the storm would pass? They chose silence, a decision that backfired catastrophically when international media outlets began using Zegler's post in recruitment videos for extremist groups. A Disney legal advisor later revealed that the Israeli government was calling the studio's offices, threatening to ban the film unless Disney issued a statement supporting Israel. The studio was caught in a no-win situation, with every move threatening to alienate a different segment of their global audience. On November 5, 2024, as polls closed in a bitterly contested presidential election, Rachel Zegler fired off two fateful tweets. The first read, "F Donald Trump," and the second, "May every MAGA supporter who comes for me never know peace. #resist." The fallout was immediate and quantifiable. Within just 48 hours, ticket refunds soared past $8 million. Male audience turnout dropped by more than 2/3, and nearly half of Southern theaters reported zero opening night sales. Disney's emergency response was frantic. The studio hired former Obama digital strategist Tara McGuire as Zegler's social media babysitter. Trigger warnings were hastily added to all promotional material, warning viewers that the film contained political themes. More than half of Zegler's scheduled press interviews were canceled overnight. A Disney publicist admitted that Zegler had become radioactive. Even friendly outlets like The View didn't want to risk the backlash. Good Morning America only kept her scheduled appearance after Disney paid a staggering $500,000 to the network. The studio was learning the hard way that in the age of social media, a single tweet could cost millions. The defining image of the disaster came on November 28, 2024, when TikTok user at MovieBuff2024 filmed Zegler at an AMC theater surrounded by empty seats, her face illuminated by the glow of her own on-screen close-up. The 27-second clip revealed a theater that was 93% empty during a prime Friday night showing. Zegler's friends awkwardly cheered during silent moments, while a lone teenager in the back row shouted, "Wake me up when the dwarfs appear!" The video quickly went viral, racking up 48 million views in just 72 hours. It sparked a cultural moment, with thousands of parody videos flooding TikTok under the hashtag #EmptySeatChallenge. Some AMC theaters were even caught projecting fake crowd noise to mask the emptiness, a desperate move that only fueled the online mockery. Disney's desperation peaked with a Buy Tickets Get Disney Plus promotion, but the response was abysmal. Only a few thousand people redeemed the offer nationwide. One marketing executive compared it to offering free life jackets on the Titanic. The damage was done, and the world was watching. Rachel Zegler's downfall was as swift as it was dramatic. Within days, she was dropped by her talent agency, CAA, after a majority of their clients complained about the controversy. Her role in the highly anticipated Hunger Games prequel was recast with Jenna Ortega, and her rumored cameo in Shazam 3 was quietly canceled. But the ripple effects went far beyond Zegler herself. Disney's broader remake strategy was suddenly in jeopardy. The live-action Moana was indefinitely delayed after Lin-Manuel Miranda quit over creative differences. The Lilo and Stitch remake saw its budget slashed from $250 million to $150 million. Even Toy Story 5 was sent back to the drawing board for cultural sensitivity reworks. A leaked memo from CEO Bob Iger summed up the new mood at Disney. "We must return to basic stories first, messaging second." The studio was in full damage control mode, and the future of its beloved franchises was suddenly uncertain. Snow White's implosion became a Rorschach test for America's deepening divisions. On one side, progressives saw a Latina actress being unfairly targeted by racist trolls and praised the film's attempt to update outdated gender roles. They criticized Disney for not standing by its star and accused the studio of corporate cowardice. On the other side, conservative critics saw the film as yet another example of woke Disney disrespecting the classics. They pointed to Zegler's comments and the studio's marketing as unforced errors that alienated half the audience. For them, Snow White's failure was proof that "go woke, go broke" was more than just a slogan. Centrists and industry observers saw something else entirely: a studio out of touch with its core audience, unable to read the room, and paying the price for trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing no one. Cultural critic Thomas Flight noted that this wasn't just a movie failing, it was the entertainment industry's inability to navigate a hyper-polarized world. When your princess film gets debated on Fox News and Al Jazeera, you've lost the plot. 3 hard lessons emerged from the wreckage of Snow White. First, the $300 million social media lesson. Star's personal platforms now pose existential risks to blockbuster films. In response, Disney began requiring all Marvel and Star Wars actors to sign strict conduct clauses, with penalties reaching up to $50 million for damaging the brand. Second, nostalgia's expiration date was suddenly clear. Audiences rejected a remake that seemed ashamed of its source material. The original 1937 Snow White, meanwhile, saw a massive spike in Disney Plus viewership, and there were even rumors of a 4K theatrical re-release to capitalize on the renewed interest. Third, the new box office math became impossible to ignore. Political polarization now automatically costs films a third of their potential viewers. Disney's solution was to develop a new apolitical label for future remakes, hoping to steer clear of controversy and win back alienated families. As Disney scrambled to salvage its battered lineup, a surprising rumor emerged. Rachel Zegler may voice a character in 2026's Zootopia 2. An insider admitted this was damage control, explaining that animated roles let her work without being the public face of the project. Meanwhile, in a twist worthy of a fairy tale, the original 1937 Snow White saw a 4,000% spike in Disney Plus streams. Sometimes the only way forward is backward. The credits may have rolled on this disaster, but its effects will linger for years. In an era where every tweet can be a landmine and every interview a potential career ender, Hollywood's golden age of risk-taking may be over. The question now isn't just, what went wrong with Snow White? It's, does any studio still know how to make it right? The fallout from Snow White's collapse is already reshaping how studios approach casting, marketing, and social media strategy. Will Disney learn from this debacle, or will they double down on the same risky formula? Will Zegler find a path to redemption, or has the industry moved on? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The legend of Snow White's box office disaster will be told in Hollywood for years to come. As the curtain falls on this chapter, one question lingers. Can Disney ever recapture the magic, or has the age of fairy tales finally come to an end? What you think? Leave a comment below.